Welcome to the I'm Still Here podcast. I'm your host, Heather Jose. In 1998, at the age of 26, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. It changed everything for us, but I'm still here. And we're here to talk to you about life with metastatic disease. We know it's not easy. We know that there are challenges that never get talked about, but we're here to walk with you through them, to show you some hope, some inspiration, and to help you make a plan so that you can join me in saying, I'm still here.
Season 2. Here we go.
Welcome back. It's amazing to think that we are here for another season, especially when season 1 was way longer than a normal.
Well, we're rookies. We
Yeah.
didn't know that there was going to be a season 2, to be honest with you.
So season 1 was a year and a half long. So I think I'm proud of the fact that we've had some longevity in this already.
Yeah.
But here we are. So
Well, I'm happy that people are listening and people are watching. And if they're listening and watching, that means they're getting something out of it, or they're sharing it with somebody who really needs it at the time. And that is why we did it.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
So I'm still here. I think we came up with that name because in essence, for a long time, you came up with the name?
Yeah. I remember the day.
Tell us about it.
Well, we were going over this, and one of the things, and I saw it on something, and I came in, and I said, well, what about I'm Still Here? Mm-hmm. And you liked it.
Yeah. I think for a long time I wrestled with that because as somebody who's lived with metastatic breast cancer for so long, I wondered if just being here is enough, right? And I think that's kind of been the evolution of all of this. And
It has been.
And it's
Right.
really the evolution of even how we're going to transition into season 2, right?
For sure.
So, yeah, it's pretty exciting. So let's kind of rewind a little bit and tell people who we are. So, go ahead.
So I'm Larry. I am Heather's husband. Heather is my first wife. And I don't know. I am a teacher. I coach sports. I officiate football. I have been teaching for, 20 some years now, 28 years. Really enjoy it. I also enjoy being Heather's husband. I enjoy, I don't know if the right words would be that I enjoyed being a caregiver, but I think it's kind of up my alley, the caregiving thing. I took it serious. I still take it serious. And for a lot of our lives, Heather was definitely in a support kind of role when we talk about professional world, because I was a head football coach for a long time, and she really supported me in that, and it took a lot of our time. And I stopped doing that 5 years ago, I think, and now kind of our roles are shifting, and I'm in a support role on this venture.
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting. I think sometimes you downplay the impact that you've had as a caregiver, but it's more than just that, because it's one thing to be a caregiver, but it's another thing to be married to the person that you're providing that to. In that, I think the thing that was so important to me through the years is that you haven't made me feel less than in terms of I just have to take care of you all the time. So to keep that kind of equal footing, to be able to keep that our relationship, our marriage strong in the midst of caregiving, I think is really
Well, I didn't name it
interesting.
caregiver, and I'm just calling it caregiver because that's what everybody else calls it.
Yeah.
I think it's called being a husband and being a wife on what you do or what you should do, regardless whether there's metastatic cancer or not. It's just, being there for your loved one. I didn't name it. That's the truth.
Right. And I honestly, as you listen to us, you'll find out that we don't really like a lot of the terms that surround cancer, right? It's just not for us.
Right.
But so I'm Heather. I was 26 years old when I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. I didn't know anything about cancer at the time. We had our daughter was 14 months old when we learned about the cancer, and I was working as an occupational therapist in the schools. So my life as I thought it was going to be, I mean, I just thought I was just a normal person from the Midwest in the United States and just kind of living this typical life, right? I think we were raised kind of in these very normal, typical middle class
Great upbringing
lives, right?
Yeah.
So I had no, I didn't know what was coming with cancer. It changed literally, I think, every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
And it's been a roller coaster, not necessarily from the medical side. It certainly was at first, but it has impacted my career significantly, and kind of it's really just changed who I am as a person. And it's helped me to our perspective on a lot of things is greatly impacted by metastatic breast cancer and the things that we've learned from it. And that's really why we started this podcast, to be able to talk about not so much the medical part of breast cancer, but everything else that you go home and you're thinking about, but it just doesn't get talked about in the way that we feel like it needs to. And I guess I'm trying to provide the support that I would have liked to have had in the beginning. So when I was diagnosed, it was 1998. We didn't have internet at the time. This was like, just kind of like, oh my gosh.
We didn't have a computer.
Yeah. It was like, you could go to the bookstore, maybe get a book, and if you know anything about publishing, even books that are on the shelves have been written 5 years prior. You know, anybody who had written a book about cancer was already gone, had died in that time. Just everything about it was just horrendous. And now, coming forward 25 years, we have the internet, and our hope with this podcast and YouTube channel is that that somebody could literally get on their computer, although that's not our recommendation necessarily, but get on their computer and find somebody
and get something answered.
And,
because it's about the questions, and you want to answer to those questions when you're in the fire. You want something when you're wondering something or you're worried about something. You want a perspective on that of somebody who is, and it sounds bad, but who is still here.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth.
Well, and I don't even know if it's answered for me so much as just somebody's still here. Somebody is still making it, and they're still living their lives and all of those things. I'm not just like, getting by every day. I have a great life, and that's the whole point of this.
Yep.
But we are, as we transition into season 2, we are doing some things a little different. We're going to continue with 2 episodes a week. Monday's episodes are kind of going to change from this Monday momentum, which I'm not sure was momentum anyway. Most of the time, it was usually randomness.
Yeah.
But it's gonna continue to be a little more random, but life focus. So one of the things we're going to do on Mondays is I'm going to introduce a book that we're going to, like, if you want to get it, listen to it, whatever, talk about it, we'll introduce it. And then we'll talk about it at the last Monday of every month. So I'm excited about that. I do a lot of reading, personal development, different things like that. So
it may have nothing to do with cancer.
It likely won't have anything to do with cancer.
But it does.
But it does, because it's all mindset, right. And it's development and health, and it's learning about what you can control and what you can't, how to use this brain in your head to the best ability. So actually, I'm going to give you an assignment if you want it really just for the next couple of weeks. This is a short book, but it's called The Gap and the Gain. It's by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. And it talks about kind of this thought of staying, either looking at something as always being in like a gap between you and how you get there, or staying in the gain of you are making progress. And so check that out if you want to. We're going to come back on the 29th, which would be the last Monday of this month, and we'll talk about that. So you didn't know you were going to get some homework either, did you?
I rarely know anything. And if you've watched this for the first season, you realize I know nothing.
Yeah.
And that's, let's talk about that a little bit. The information that we give on this podcast, we do bring people on and we interview them, professionals in the field, and they're going to give you the professional, not even opinion, the facts based on things. A lot of the things that we're talking about is based on our experience over the last 25, 26 years. It's not always based on even, I don't want to say it's science. I mean, it's based on our experience.
Absolutely.
And some people have asked questions, and the only answer there's two answers we can give. Number one, we can research it and give that answer or that description. But the other side of it is just from this is what Heather went through. This is what Heather did. This was the outcome of that. And as everybody knows, a lot of things have changed in the last 25 years. And to be honest, you don't have experience with everything in there. No. But, what we can do is we can do research for you. And I love doing that. But it's from her experience. So I do want to kind of...
Well, and I mean, my big thing too is like from a medical standpoint, we talk about getting the best medical professionals around you, creating the team, things like that. But that's up to them. That's for you to work with them on. Mm-hmm. We're not providing advice about how to treat something, so.
Never will.
And honestly, I've said to my doctor from the very beginning, like, that's I would like you to do that. You're the expert. I'm going to do everything else around it. Mm-hmm. Like, so tell me how I can be helpful to my treatment. I'm all the way in. But don't, I'm not the person researching trials and doing things like that. That's never been who I am and where I wanted to spend my energy. So this is about living with metastatic breast cancer, right?
Yes.
So also I wanted to talk, so Wednesdays we will be bringing on some experts occasionally. We would like to talk with people who have been living with metastatic breast cancer for 10 plus years, to be able to provide more inspiration for people and hope, and
the whys behind that, or the what
or
did
how
you do, or the hows,
the whats.
Because certainly not everybody's the same. You have one experience, and that's what you have, but other people have way different experiences. Yeah. And ages of kids and family dynamics. Yes. And there's just so many things there that make it different. And that's good.
And the more we can bring on some different people, the more people can then have the opportunity to relate.
And we're going to be talking about things we have talked about in the first season, but with the questions or the comments that you guys have sent us, we're going to be taking maybe a little bit different angle on some things and expounding on some things. And we didn't get to everything we wanted to. We're going to be hitting on those.
The other thing I've learned is that hearing something once is great, but I need to hear it again and again. Yeah. So, repeated exposure to things is an important thing. Mm-hmm. So, another thing that's new, Wednesdays will be pretty cancer related and things, but another thing that is new is that we have a hotline number. Isn't that cool?
It's exciting.
So actually, you can call in and leave a message with a question, with a comment. You can, if you want it to be anonymous, you can say that, whatever. But we want to be able to do segments where we are answering questions or talking about other people's experiences. So the number, which we will put in all of our links and notes and things like that, is 616-303-0094. So we're really excited about that. I think it'll be fun. I hope you guys use it. And
it's a succinct place where messages can be sent. I know some of you don't want to leave a voice message. You'd rather type that out. And we do get those on the different platforms. But those of you who have been involved with this, it's harder.
It is a lot harder.
It's in a lot of different places where messages to us can be left. And it's not an easy thing to find sometimes.
Right.
And when you're doing multiple podcasts over and over, that's just the truth of this. And so we're trying to get it more, this is where messages, and we're working on a website too. And that's another place where we can say, okay, the hotline or this. But we are still figuring this out. And I think that's what makes it fun for everybody here is we're trudging along and doing our best for you guys. And hopefully it works out.
Yeah, so we're bringing on some new team members. We have changed our background a little bit. Maybe the video quality will look a little better. That's bad for us because I usually kind of jump in here on a random morning and you never know what you're going to find in terms of how I'm looking. But we also are just going to keep keeping it real, right? That's who we are and what we want to do for you guys. So we are super excited about this, and we hope you'll join us for both the Monday, kind of more life side of things, and Wednesdays will be the more cancer side of things. But we definitely think that you can get stuff out of both of them. And yeah, we'll be around. Let's start season 2, but let's not do it for a year and a half.
No. 1 year. There we go.
All right.
Go Blue.